Hello, welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today I'm pretty excited. We've got a great guest in Bill Macintosh, who's from Saint-Tropez, France, of all places. He's selling super high-end luxury homes with sea views all over the French Riviera. And we had a great conversation. Of course, real estate is one of my favorite things to talk about, and we were able to hatch some evil schemes for Bill to really narrow in on a very specific segment of that market. And you'll hear that as we talk, you start to understand the value of narrowing things down, of getting into a situation where you've narrowed to a single target market, and that's going to make it easy for us to identify those people. And in real estate, the great thing that Bill has going for him is he has a chance to be what I call a market maker, where he can not only find people who are looking for homes in Saint-Tropez, but he can also find people who are looking to sell their home in Saint-Tropez. And that makes things pretty exciting when you are a marketer. So enjoy this episode.
Bill.
Hey, Dean, how are you?
I am so good. There you are.
Awesome. Yes, thanks so much for doing this today, Dean.
I'm excited. We get to hatch some evil schemes about my favorite thing, real estate.
The more evil, the better.
So,
I know you're the man when it comes to real estate. You're the man. So if anyone can crack my dilemma and come up with an evil scheme for me, you're the guy.
Awesome. Well,
great.
Set the stage here for us. Tell us
All right.
what's going on.
So yeah, I'll give you a snapshot of where my business is at and
sure.
what I've identified so far, Dean, as my biggest challenges. So I've gone through the Profit Activator scorecard, and that was a really interesting experience. Very, very educational. And in fact, it led to the creation of a fourth unit in my business, a little thing I like to call the intensive care unit.
Okay, perfect.
If my business was a person, that's where, if my before unit was a person, that's where they'd be. So going through the scorecard, in the before unit, I came up with a 25 out of a potential 48, which is a 52%. The during unit was 23 out of 24, which is 96%. So that's healthy and well. And the after unit, I scored 16 out of 24, which is 67%. So there wasn't any surprise in that exercise because I knew my before unit is where my biggest challenges lie.
Sure.
What was surprising for me, however, was in the fourth Profit Activator, the compelling presentation stage, that's really strong. I rated it as an 11 out of 12, but it's not enough to really carry things forward because especially Profit Activator number 2 and 3 are so weak that I haven't really educated and motivated prospects to really stay loyal to me. There isn't a relationship there.
Sure.
So that was interesting to see.
So you're not an untypical. That's
right.
Not, yeah, it's not untypical that you fall into a situation where, like many entrepreneurs, no matter what the business is, you're really great at delivering the result. If somebody shows up, well, tell people where you are and what kind of real estate you're actually helping people with, because it's kind of a unique situation.
It's a very, very unique situation. So I sell ultra high-end luxury real estate in Saint-Tropez on the French Riviera. I've been selling real estate off and on now for just over 30 years. And as you said, once I get, nose to nose, belly to belly with people, I'm extremely strong, whether I'm working with a buyer or seller. But in the Saint-Tropez area of the French Riviera, and just to sort of give listeners an idea of what that market looks like, looking at my figures for 2015, my average sale price, I did 3 deals, which for me, 3 to 4 deals a year is a fairly decent year. The 3 deals averaged $2.2 million each, and the average commission was $55,000 per deal, which actually is going to double now because just about a month ago, my wife and I, we got our own broker's license.
Nice.
So I've been splitting the commission 50-50 with brokers up until now. So that 55 per deal will actually become 110 instantly without doing anything else. So that's the good news.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So that's good. But yeah, so ultra high-end luxury properties, they're all vacation homes. Once in a while, they're a second home for the buyer, but more typically, they're third, fourth, fifth homes. I mean, I'm dealing with sort of the buyer profile would be the top 20% of the 1%ers, really.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, billionaires, people with extremely high net worth buying another one of several homes. And the sellers are obviously typically extremely wealthy as well. Most sellers in Saint-Tropez are not motivated sellers. The typical seller attitude is, look, here's how much I want. I know it's probably overpriced, but so what? If I don't get it, who cares? If it takes me 5 years, big deal. And that's the sort of thing I come up against a lot. So I've got very strict criteria before I'll take a listing. And with buyers, the challenge is that because where do I begin? Well, first of all, in France, unlike in North America, there is no such thing as a multiple listing service where agents or the general public can look online, see what's currently for sale, see what's previously sold, see what's expired. I mean, none of that exists. So there's no central place to get that information, and you just really have to learn as you go in terms of house prices and the typical system here for, because again, I've been in studying all your stuff, Dean. I know 3 techniques that you commonly use with agents in North America is you offer sellers either a price estimate, a room-by-room assessment, or you talk to them about having a silent buyer. Well, the problem in Saint-Tropez is because they're all second, third, fourth homes, I can't do mailings here because the owners are never here. I mean, they may use their house in Saint-Tropez 2 weeks out of the year. Right. So the mailers never land. They never land in the hands of the seller. It'll be a housekeeper or caretaker who sees it, throws it in the garbage because they have a friend who sells real estate that they'll pass leads on to get a kickback. And that's the challenge with actually trying to market to sellers here in terms of getting listings. And then the challenge with the buyers is because they're spread all over the world. I wish there was a Facebook group called ultra high net worth individuals looking for a home in Saint-Tropez.
Right.
That would make my life very easy. But I haven't found one like that yet. So that's the challenge from both sides, Dean, is trying to meet sellers that meet the criteria of exceptional property, priced properly, and motivated to sell, and meeting buyers. And so far, my leads come primarily from a web portal based out of the UK. The only way they generate their leads is through investing a huge amount of money in SEO with thousands of properties from different locations around the world that attract buyers. They pass those leads on to me, and they end up getting 50% if I do a deal. Okay. The second source of leads for both buyers and sellers is through referrals, because I'm very good in my after unit at nurturing the relationships and orchestrating referrals. I'm fairly. There's room for improvement, obviously, but I'm pretty strong there because I have to be. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. So that's not unlike, I mean, the mechanics of it are the same as what realtors in any market that have to go through. You have to find buyers and you have to get listings. I mean, those are the two fundamental things, right? So if you talk about it in your before unit, you're clear kind of on who you are trying to attract. You want to, you kind of focus on that on the high end. And when you say that, describe if you could just like get the kind of listings that that you work with. How would you kind of define a target market there? Are they oceanfront properties? Are they villas? Are they? How would you describe what those properties are?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've been thinking a lot about this along the lines of, as you put it, where's your biggest check coming from? Mm-hmm. And there are definitely villas. Mm-hmm. Most of them would be ocean view, but not all, sea view, but not all. And there's a particular gated community, or gated domain as they're called here, that has 132 villas in it. Mm-hmm. Lowest price would start at around, if it was an old fixer-upper or even a tear-down, it would start at around $8 million, and they go up into the 9 figures. There's at least a handful that would be over $100 million. I have a couple of listings in there now, one at 75, another one at 30. And that is, that would be the biggest paycheck. Commissions here are 5%. So, 5% on a, let's take the lower end, even on a $10 million sale, is that's still a heck of a good payday, by any standards.
Sure. Where's the bulk of the market? Like, is there a even in that high end? I imagine all the real estate in that region is pricier than most. But is there sort of a sweet spot
in the area? You mean?
Yeah, in the area. Like, what cities or what places are you primarily in? Let's narrow down the geography of it, kind of thing.
Right. So there's a few villages, towns, and a couple of cities dotted along the French Riviera, which would start in the east with Monaco, and then go as far west as Saint-Tropez on the other end. And in between, there's a few spots like Villefranche-sur-Mer, which is, Billionaires Row. There's obviously extremely expensive villas in Cannes, Nice. So there's a few villages dotted along the way, but Monaco and Saint-Tropez are the two that are considered, the ultra high end. I mean, you can't buy, just to give you an idea, you can't buy anything in Saint-Tropez, almost nothing under €1 million. That's where prices would start, and that would be a 1-bedroom apartment in the village.
Yeah.
So, and the sweet spot of Saint-Tropez is this gated community that I mentioned with 132 villas, because it's almost virtually the only gated domain that actually have guards at the gates, and so security is very high, which obviously is of utmost importance to the very wealthy, because Saint-Tropez does have a reputation for break-ins, but not in Les Parcs de Saint-Tropez, which is the name of this gated community that I referred to. The security is very high, which is a huge selling feature for people.
Okay, and is that?
So that's the sweet spot of Saint-Tropez.
is that one of the things that people would refer to by name? Like what level
yes, it's
of
very well
awareness
known.
of the market? Yeah, what's the how
Yes,
do you say
yes.
it again?
Les Parcs de Saint-Tropez, so the Park of Saint-Tropez.
Okay, Le Parc
would be the
Saint-Tropez.
translation. Yeah.
Okay. And
so the people would refer to it as the park.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what I mean. It's kind of like the Beverly Hills of Saint-Tropez, or the Holmby Hills of Saint-Tropez, which is the little pocket inside of Beverly Hills, which is primo. Yeah. So that would be an equivalent.
Okay. Now, is there expanding from the 130 homes in the park there?
Yeah.
Is Saint-Tropez kind of the word that people would use to describe what they're looking for?
Yes.
Or do they, like, I'm trying to get to the specific things that people would ask for, like, the French Riviera is a pretty broad area. And for us to kind of have a sense of the region, but I would imagine that people are very specific about, somebody, Nice is very different than Cannes. And
absolutely,
Saint-Tropez is different.
Saint-Tropez is very different from Monaco. Absolutely. No, a buyer for Saint-Tropez would not want to be anywhere else, and vice versa. A buyer from Monaco would not want to be in Saint-Tropez unless I had a client who I've had a few clients who own in Monaco but also want to buy in Saint-Tropez because it's just a completely different vibe, different lifestyle. It's more relaxed. But the unique thing about Saint-Tropez compared to any other spot on the French Riviera is Saint-Tropez is a luxury brand in and of itself.
Sure it is, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of villages on the French Riviera I could mention to somebody I bump into at a bar in, I don't know, in Marrakesh or, in somewhere else in the world, in Miami. They wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about, but I think I could bump into anybody anywhere on the planet and mention Saint-Tropez, and if they're wealthy, they'll know instantly where it is.
It's one of those iconic things. It's like South Beach.
Exactly.
I mean, right? That everybody, no matter what, when they think Florida, they think South Beach, and that's what it's very similar to what we've been doing, trying to attract within the South Beach market. High end. This South Beach oceanfront is the cream of the crop in South Beach.
I listened to that episode with great interest because, again, you were faced with the agent was faced with the same challenge of so many foreign owners who don't live there. And so, if I recall correctly, the challenge was sifting those out from the owner-occupied units.
That's exactly it. Now, you would be surprised the level of the people who responded. I mean, of the people, the actual individuals. Like you say that, a lot of these are filtered, which is true. That it's very, we found that in South Beach, there were a lot of people who were LLCs with an address not associated, not with the property, in another area at a legal office or an accounting office or somebody's office. So they're being sort of filtered. But some of them did have their, contact information, their mailing address at their office. So the ones that, like, the responses that we got were pretty, like, surprising high end people that you wouldn't think that you would have access to, like people who are the own big companies and are both very high profile, like a former ambassador to another country, and like these kinds of things it's very interesting. So I look at it that the the visible prospects are the ones who own the homes in the area that you're looking for. So if you say Saint-Tropez,
own and occupy, right?
Not necessarily occupy, but some of them do occupy.
Okay.
Like not everybody in Saint-Tropez is a fourth or fifth home owned, right? So there are some people who actually live there, I would imagine, right? Like not in any in every market that this is somebody's would have perhaps
right.
a primary home there, right?
Yes, there is a small. Yes, there is a small population. Well, the population of Saint-Tropez officially on paper is 5,500.
Okay. Isn't it amazing that, you think about that, such an iconic thing can have such a small piece, just like South Beach and just like Cape Ann,
right.
north of Boston. I mean, those are areas that are, pretty not big population-wise, but big reputation-wise. And so,
yeah, no, exactly.
Okay.
And in the summer, we'd have like 100,000 to 140,000 people a day going through the village. In the winter, that drops down to I won't say zero, but it'd be like a couple of hundred a day. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And most of the stores close up. And of the full-time residents who do have a home in Saint-Tropez, and of the 5,500, I would guess about 10% are maybe living there full-time. But in the winter, they're typically not even. I mean, only a fraction of those 10% full-time residents would be in the village.
Right.
And I have tried mailings in the past and got literally zero response.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that a little bit, because if we were to say of the 5,500 or the however many homes are in Saint-Tropez, how many of them would be? How would you divide them up? Like, so I look at if we take South Beach, for instance, there's the oceanfront condos, and then there's the bayfront condos, and then there's the interior condos, and then there'd be smaller, homes and things within it, and then you'd have the detached homes on Star Island and the other islands between
like Pocket.
South Beach and So, but what would be like if you were to identify them? How many of them would be on the oceanfront, for instance?
Right. So to actually get oceanfront here, probably.
But what would be the distinctions? Like if you were to kind of
2 to 3% of the homes would be considered oceanfront or seafront.
Mm-hmm.
But the hot button, I'm not sure what you're trying to get at, but the hot button with potential buyers is a sea view.
Yeah,
very few ask for seafront, because there you're starting at 15 to 20 million and up.
Right. Gotcha.
So that's another level of buyer, but sea view is the hot button. 8 or 9 out of 10 buyers want a view of the sea.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And that's what they would say is, we want an ocean front. Is that what they call it? Sea view? Or would they say ocean?
Yeah.
How would they
so that means
it could
be. Yeah. So that means it could be, a half a mile from the beach, or a mile even, but they can still see the sea.
Okay, perfect.
That's
and
the
what would be the price range of a sea view home?
Like starting at $5 million.
Okay, perfect. And now here's the thing. This is what, when you look at the idea here, when you look at this, those are the Seaview homes. Imagine there's not a lot of new development in Saint-Tropez. It's not. I mean, imagine it's been around long enough.
Almost non-existent. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it is what it is. You've got the inventory of the Seaview homes in Saint-Tropez is limited to however many of those homes there are. How many would you guess that there are, or do you know specifically?
I don't know specifically, but an educated estimate would be 20%, 15% of the total inventory would be Seaview.
Okay. And so how many homes would that be listed or unlisted?
So that would be roughly 600. If we say there's 4,000 homes.
Yeah. Okay. So 600 of them would be Seaview homes. Yeah. With an average of 15, with an average of $5 million as the price on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you get a sense of how many sell each year? Like, what would be the turnover rate of the Seaview homes in Saint-Tropez?
Right. Again, really difficult because there's no centralized information source. It's almost all word of mouth. In France, every transaction by law has to go through, in France they're called a notary, but they're really, by American standards, more like a lawyer. So from my personal relationships with those people, I would say that there's a turnover in an average year of probably 15 transactions to 20, 15 to 20 per year.
Yep.
And that's divided amongst close to 500 real estate agents in the village.
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter. No,
that's irrelevant.
I'm
not
interested in that. Yeah. I don't care about them.
Yeah,
we're working for you here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
The reality
so 15 to 20 transactions per year.
Okay, so that's not too far off of the situation with the lakefront homes here in Winter Haven. You know, there's 2,100 lakefront homes with a 4% turnover rate. You've probably got about a 3 or 4% turnover rate of those homes there.
Around there. Right.
So part of this, so much of this, if you're looking at it, that are you in the area for the long term? I mean, is this your focus here? Like, is this another 10 plus year?
I was going to say define long term.
I mean, is that
right? My ultimate goal, Dean, is to bank and stash away $2 million over the next 5 years.
Okay.
And then I'll be ready to move on to other things.
Okay. So
that's my goal.
We've got a shorter window in terms then of that. But here's the thing, is that the 600 people, this is where you now, if you're narrowing your focus here, one of the things that I really talk about with Profit Activator was selecting a single target market, Seaview homes in Saint-Tropez. That is the kind of iconic cream of the crop. That's what anybody who's coming to Saint-Tropez would want, right?
8 to 9 buyers out of 10 will want that, exactly.
Of course. Okay, so that's the hot commodity. Now, the good news is that there's only 600 of them.
Right.
And that you individually, with some level of effort, could get a list of who those 600 homeowners are, right? You can identify, do they have a registry office? Is there a tax records? Is there some, how would you?
Yes.
Okay.
There's right through the tax records at the town hall, and I have acquired addresses and owners' names and addresses, mailing addresses that way before. But by law, they can only release 10 per week. So so I think I have to recruit more people to put in inquiries for me.
I got you. Okay. So that, there's the thing is that, first of all, that's the starting point, right? So if you can get that list together, that is going to be the starting point. We do on our I Love Marketing podcast with Joe Polish. We had a great
which I love, by
episode. Thank you. We had a great episode with Richard Viguerie. And Richard Viguerie is a guy who, is a conservative fundraiser. He's a marketer, but he started
yes.
business.
I listened to that one. That was a great one.
It really was, because Richard started his whole empire on the aha that in the 60s, as soon as it was passed that campaign contributions had to be recorded, and
over $100, wasn't it?
More than $100 to any political candidate had to be recorded. And so he went into the records office and started handwriting out the names and addresses of all of the people who had given $100 to the conservative candidate. And he brought in 6 ladies to help him go through that process. And at the end, he had 12,000 names of conservative contributors. That was the foundation of everything for him. And so I would say that's your start right there, right? There's your
That's really
start
helpful.
Is to get those 600 names, because that is an asset that you have. Now, some of those people are going to have an address that's easy to get to, and some will be, if it's their third or fourth home, some of them may have an LLC or some sort of veiled ownership that would be more difficult to crack. But you can always, you can certainly mail to the address there. Now, the card, the thing that we mail, and I've got a whole getting listings program that we do with the real estate agents, and the whole idea is not to send postcards or mailings that are trying to convince people to list with you, but that are offering the free October 2016 report on Saint-Tropez Sea View house prices, which seems like now that is something very valuable that anybody who is thinking of selling their home would be interested in getting. And so when you look at it, the idea that they are, even if the address is behind an accountant or behind an advisor or a family office, a lawyer, whatever it is, they probably have somebody, a household manager, somebody who manages the property for them, that they would view this as a resource, right? If somebody's thinking about selling, if they say, just like you said, they're never in a hurry, but they maybe let somebody know that they would consider selling, or they're it's going to be available soon. That person would be wise to kind of get their ducks in a row and have access to the information, especially if it's very difficult to get just like you were.
Well, that's
saying.
the thing. That's right. That's what stopped me in the past, Dean, is that it would be, first of all, I agree 100%, it would be an extremely valuable resource that would definitely get people to raise their hand out of curiosity, if nothing else.
Right.
But for me to get my hands on that information is, again, because no centralized source. And the notaries, the lawyers who handle the sales, are not allowed by law to release that information. They give general statistics for the country, but I tried working out an arrangement with a notary here before, and they said, no, we can't, Bill. Sorry, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm required by law. I would lose my license. I'm required to keep that information confidential on individual sales. So it's extremely difficult to get my hands on that, maybe impossible at worst case.
So there's no registration.
No.
Like there's no registry like in the States. The actual transaction is recorded as
it is recorded when title transfers hands, similar to the U.S., but only the notaries can access that information. It's not public information.
I got you. Okay.
And even they have to request a specialized search to get their hands on that. It's not like they can just log online, put in an address, and get these previous sale details.
Got you. Okay. So whatever information you can gather, or whatever, how do you value a property then? How do you determine what the selling price is, and one compared
that's a great question.
To another?
Yeah, when I first landed here 3 years ago, that was my first question on the first day, I think, in the Sotheby's office. I started it, and they said, ask the seller how much they want. And I said, you're kidding, right? And they said, no, just ask the seller how much they want and take the listing at that price. I said, well, it's going to be an inflated price because every seller thinks it's worth more than it really is. They said, yeah, but it's a place to start and then see how it goes. So that was how I started. Today, now that I've been doing this, 3.5 years, now I've got a good sense of what is realistic and what isn't in terms of pricing. So I've got a feel for it, and that's really the way agents do it here. Is it's education through fire type of thing. You just learn as you go, as you put in more time, and as you go through dozens or hundreds of homes, you just get a good sense of what's what.
Gotcha. And then, how do you find the homes to show? How do you know which ones are available? Is there
Right. So typically, it's through referrals.
With other agents, you mean, or with?
No, agents here don't cooperate. That's the other anomaly in the French market, and especially in my market, is it's extremely cutthroat and competitive, and cooperation between agents is almost non-existent. Every deal I've sold, I found the buyer and the seller. So to use the jargon of the industry, I double in like 99% of my sales.
Perfect. And so that's
not because I want to. It's just because of it's the nature of the beast.
Yep, I got it. That where would somebody, so you've got the ability, I would say, to get those 600 to have, that's going to be the most valuable thing that you can do, is to be able to get a way to communicate with those people. Regardless, it's almost like you're building your detective work or your asset. It's almost like filling out the record of these 600 homes and starting with whatever tax records are available, and maybe through your own networks and through meeting at there may be some property management firms that manage some of these properties, multiple of them, or some may have staff, that are at the homes, whatever you can do to really kind of create this sense of who are these 600 people. That's the core. And the more work that you put into uncovering those, all that detective work, getting a connection and in to those 600, that's going to be a valuable thing. And if you're able to identify what sort of what the property is like, to have a sense of how big it is, what the price of it may be, that will help you when you have a buyer to to approach the right people, because so often rather than just trying to generate leads from people who are looking for information, you might get a quicker or a better response if you actually have a buyer who's looking. That's a different thing. So I think those 600, I would be doing everything I possibly could to build that connection to those 600 homes.
Yeah, that's really useful, Dean, because I was thinking more in terms of my single target market for sellers being a geographic area, but in fact that's too limiting. Why not just, as you said, focus on the single target market being the most sought after property 80 to 90% of the time, which is the Seaview properties.
Right.
So yeah, that's really helpful.
That way, that's the my whole approach in Profit Activator 1 is the same, is the approach of Procter & Gamble, which is plan to dominate. That's right. Pick a single target market that you can dominate. And so if you're saying you're doing more to find those to attract those 600 than anything else, that's going to be helpful. Now, let's talk about the buyers, because that's really, let's face it, the catalyst for everything. Nothing's going to happen until there's a buyer. And so what most real estate agents do is they have this idea that they have to have listings to be able to find the buyers for those homes. So I'm saying, let's take that opposite approach and let's find the buyers in addition. So we're triangulating here, right? You've got connections you're building for the 600. And if we send out a postcard that gets people to raise their hand, you're building this pool of prospects, of people who may be at some point going to sell their house. That's all that matters, that we have a connection to somebody in that house. Now, where would a buyer who's looking for a sea view house in Saint-Tropez be looking to find that house? What would they be looking for? What would they be doing? How does that come about? You mentioned a website that you get leads from that does SEO, which means that some level people are looking online for that information, right?
Right, 95%. That's the simple answer. 95% of buyers have identified which homes they're interested in before they even get off the plane in France. They find them online, which is, the conclusion I came to was, okay, rather than me trying to find the buyers, I have to look at it from the other side, and how can I make myself visible? Because right now I'm an invisible agent. How can I make myself visible where they find me?
So there
Does that make sense?
It does, absolutely. So that's exactly where I was going, is what if you had the guide to Saint-Tropez Sea View real estate? Right. That's the thing for anybody looking for a sea view home. There's more than just the the individual properties that go into this. There'd be people who are interested in knowing, there's different factors probably, right? Like some of the areas, there might be some neighborhoods different than others. Some are gated communities.
Absolutely.
Some Yeah, so to know, like, to give somebody a CAT scan view of these are where the sea view homes are,
right.
That would be a valuable thing for people.
I like it. I just recently created a pop-up opt-in form on my website, which pops up on every page, but it's a guide to buying a home in Saint-Tropez, which I cover, general things, and I can't give any results on that yet because it's too new. I actually got motivated to do it last week, knowing this call was coming up.
There we go. So we're already lighting a fire. That's great.
The fire was already burning last week, Dean. So it's too early to tell. But I love the idea of a guide to buying sea view homes in Saint-Tropez. That's even more specific.
That's exactly it. So what we do with the oceanfront condos, and I mean, we've been doing this in the highest end markets in the United States. I mean, the South Beach oceanfront condo guide and the Cape Ann waterfront properties guide, and and Paradise Valley, view homes in Paradise Valley in Arizona. Those are all really high-end markets. And what you're doing is you're finding people who, it's not just having a listing that gives you one sort of entry on the bingo card of, somebody might stumble on that particular property. What it gives you is the overriding thing that anybody looking for a sea view house in Saint-Tropez or a sea view villa would be attracted to. They would say, exactly. I would love that. That gives you the opportunity to advertise in the magazines or the places where those people would be looking. Are there real estate publications in that would be, so we're finding like the luxury real estate publications are a great place to do a print ad like that,
Exactly, because that's, in response to your question, that's what I was going to say, is that would definitely be worth trying, because I know from experience being at the other two brokers, I was with both Sotheby's and Coldwell Banker in France, who had huge marketing budgets, and I know that for the, I would say on average, they were spending $20,000 a month on advertising properties in the luxury magazines and online, and they were generating almost zero results. But this would be different because it would be. I think there'd be a much greater chance of getting a potential buyer to raise their hand and say, "Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm going to get that," rather than just looking at a catalog of properties.
Just to give you some idea, as the ads that we have run in South Beach and Cape Ann, you can get 20, 25, 30 responses a month to an ad like
phenomenal.
that.
Yeah.
Right, and those are people who are looking for that specific thing.
Right.
That's what you really want, is that when you've got your list of the buyers, when you've got the people who are looking for the homes, that's that's the catalyst, because now you can go to those 600 Seaview homeowners or their messengers or advisors or whoever it is, with the opportunity that you're not just trying to get a listing, because none of them want to list the property, but they might sell it. Right? They might sell it if you had a buyer.
Yeah.
So you've got that opportunity now to treat those as like your silent inventory. And the more that you know about those properties, if you've got whatever images or pictures or overview satellite shots or whatever you have to build the most comprehensive database of the sea view homes in Saint-Tropez, that's an asset. That's an asset for you, and that you can, in 2 or 3 years, when you, go to move on, that's an asset that you could sell to somebody or have this system be run by somebody else,
Exactly.
And I'll tell you that some of these don't happen quickly. You've got the
No, that's
Kenny.
okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Fine. But
No, it's not about a quick get rich quick thing. Yeah.
Did you hear the episode with Kenny McCarthy from Cape Ann? Okay, so literally in one 60 or 90-day period, he had 3 people who had called him from when he was doing the he does the getting listings for every month in those areas.
Right.
But 3 people call who had been getting it for 3 years.
Yeah, I know.
And call him up.
I know. So including the sweet old lady who said, "I've been getting your paperwork."
The paperwork. Yes, I get your paperwork every month.
The paperwork. Yeah.
And that
was funny.
So when you look at that, there's the big kind of opportunity, because even at $5 million, your commission opportunities are even higher than what your average was on the ones last year.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Mm-hmm. No, that's a $250K commission on one of those sales. So well
and
worth
are you
putting
doing
in the time and effort. Are
you doing any a pay-per-click advertising yourself? Meaning,
I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not, Dean, because I'm still in education mode. Not because I don't think I should be. I should be doing a lot of things, but here's my situation. I don't know if it's typical with agents in general, but I'm a phenomenal salesperson in face-to-face situations.
Yeah.
But I refer to myself as a marketing moron.
No, I got it. Yeah.
Because the world has changed, and when it comes to online marketing, which is where all of us need to get really proficient and master. Yeah. I'm in the process of learning as I go. So I haven't invested money yet because I know I'll just be throwing it away on kind of wish and a prayer because I don't yet understand what I'm doing. So
until you get this guide together, that you got something that's going to do it. And so I would take the information that you have on buying a home in Saint-Tropez and putting that into the guide that you put together. But I would make the cover of the guide and the context of the guide be more market data and a resource rather than a sales type of piece. You've heard me, one of the words I use all the time are compelling and convincing, right? So the compelling thing is we want somebody to say, oh, I need that guide. So when you look at what would be the things, the information that would be in the guide that anybody buying a sea view villa in Saint-Tropez would love to have without the sort of subjective information of, how to buy a home, or the things that are more leaning towards how to choose you as their real estate agent.
Right.
That's not what you're
non-salesy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We want it to be market data to get them to raise their hand.
That's all we want is get them to raise their hand. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in Profit Activator 3, it's about compelling them,
Right. As you're nurturing the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that whole process there, that's the gap that it's like you've got this dip in your Profit Activator scorecard. You're pretty clear on who you want to attract. and then it dips down in profit activator 2 and 3, and then shoots back up once you get them, is we need to like bridge that gap. You know who they are. We need to get them. If we get them to you, you're fantastic. It's just bridging that, you know, and
exactly
that's where,
right. Yeah,
that's what we're looking for there.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you hit it on the head, because in profit activator number 2, my score was 2, and number 3 my score was 4. So that's the gap right there.
Right.
And it's sandwiched by 8 and 11 in profit activator number 1 and 4. So
you know who you want, and you can help them when you find them. It's just
I just got to find them.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to help them find me more precisely.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And so you help them find you by shining the light on what they're looking for.
Right.
So what they're looking for is information on on Saint-Tropez Seaview villas. Now, do you have right now anybody who owns a Seaview home that, well, you've got 2 listings, you said, in there, right?
In the park, I've got 2 listings, but Seaview properties in general, I have again, because I just got our broker's license. I've started sort of restarted and I'm slowly bringing on board some of the previous owner clients I've had. But of the 10 listings I have, 8 of those would be Seaview. So
okay, perfect. So there you go. So that's your good start, and now your sellers are going to be very happy to see that you've got a way to find buyers, you know, and you've got now one thing that you can do rather than having to appease your seller, advertise their individual listings everywhere. You are able to get to a point where you can get the people at the level where Saint-Tropez and Seaview is the level that they've narrowed it down to. Right. Of which your listings are a subset of that category, right? You've got now those 8 or 10 of those properties that would be valuable that's enough to give people a sense of what they can get. And the fact that you have this comprehensive, about all the 600, this encyclopedic sort of knowledge about those 600 homes, that's what I would focus all my effort on, is becoming the world's leading authority on those 600 homes.
On the Saint-Tropez Seaview homes, yeah, because nobody else is doing it, that's for sure.
Right.
And that's how I could dominate. No, that's fantastic.
That's exactly right. And,
that's fantastic.
Got such a great area that it would really lend itself to some video type of content as well, like your way of
absolutely
connecting with those people, but not just about the properties, but about the lifestyle in Saint-Tropez as well, you know?
Well, that's exactly right. That's the thing, because that's why people are buying here. They're not buying a piece of real estate because they can, their options are limitless, literally. They can buy anywhere in the world. The reason they want to buy in Saint-Tropez specifically is for the Saint-Tropez lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so, there's tons of possibilities for which I spend many sleepless nights thinking about.
Right.
Lots of possibilities to really compel people to put up their hand by creating compelling lifestyle pieces that are non-salesy, educational, entertaining.
Yes. And by the way, what you may end up finding is that people who start out with an aspiration for a Seaview may end up, finding something that's not Seaview, but that they'd be equally happy with. It's just a great place to start the relationship, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. It does. That does happen, because once we're in communication, I obviously have a very clear set of questions that I go through with people in interviewing them to understand exactly what they're trying to achieve, what's the outcome they're trying to achieve, and the type of lifestyle they're looking for in Saint-Tropez. And sometimes they end up realizing through that process that what they thought they wanted isn't actually what they really want. They just didn't know any better before. So that's always a fun moment where, again, I set myself apart from my competition because my competition's just very happy to get them in a car and show them anything and everything. So whereas I'm the opposite. We sort it all out and laser focus on exactly what they're looking for, so that by the time they get here, I've got a maximum of 5-6 properties. And one of those is going to be the one, which is, by the way, interviewing the buyers in terms of understanding their pain points. The number one pain point for people coming to the Saint-Tropez area looking at real estate is that they get dragged around looking at a bunch of properties that don't even come close to corresponding to the criteria that they're really looking for. And so my tagline, my promise to buyers is that I will find your dream home in just one trip, which is huge for them because because time is everything for these people. Money is not an issue, it's time, and what they hate is wasting it with incompetent agents dragging them around. So that's worked out really well. So as you said, I'm really strong on the sort of bookends, but it's the gap in the middle. And out of curiosity, Dean, on that subject, so we've identified that other agents you work with in the luxury market use the luxury property magazines for their ads. Are there any other mediums that are working well for them, like social media?
And pay
Google
for
AdWords or?
Google AdWords for sure. But a good easy way to start with that is Bing. I like to start with Bing because it's so easy to get started, and we find we can get 25 or 30% of what you could get with Google. So it's a good, fast place to test things.
Oh, okay. So, and probably cheaper.
Yeah, it is. Not much, but I mean, it is a little bit. But the volume, everybody kind of immediately goes to Google, and so I kind of go to Bing just to test the market experiment, and easier to, and whatever you can get maxing out Bing, you could get 3 or 4 times as much rolling out to Google, but you figure it out.
Oh, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. I wouldn't have even thought of Bing. So thank you. Great.
And so, you think about the keywords that people would be looking for, that they would search for if they were looking for a home in Saint-Tropez. So it'd be Saint-Tropez real estate, or villas, or listings, or homes for sale, or sea view, or any of those kind of keywords, and you'd be able to refine it and get that all down.
Of course, and there are tools that can help you identify exactly what keywords and search terms are the most popular, et cetera. So
that's exactly.
That's a great tip to start with Bing.
I really do like the print ads in that they're they have a lot of longevity. And it's one decision. You don't have any management on it. You place the ad once and it works all month. You don't have to constantly monitor and adjust it and do all of these things. It's in the publication and the leads just come, and it's a good start. So if there's a specific publication, then that would be a good place to start.
And do you think a luxury lifestyle publication would be as effective, Dean, as a luxury property publication?
I start as close to the real intention as I can. So a real estate specific publication is closer to the goal than a lifestyle publication,
Right.
And
okay.
an AdWords or Bing search is very right on target because you're only showing your ad to people who are searching those specific words,
Right. Got you.
They had to go there and voluntarily type in those words. You're not just they're not just stumbling across it in a lifestyle magazine.
Exactly. No, you're right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Great.
So,
wow.
Hey,
this has been amazing.
Yeah, I think you got some great opportunity there. It's all very exciting.
No, it is. It's very exciting, and now I feel much clearer on exactly what I need to focus in on. I knew the problem. I've identified the problem and where the gap was, especially going through the scorecard, which was super helpful. It was just a solution that I was racking my brains on, and you've cracked it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So, you have you seen our GoGo Agent community, gogoagent.com? That's where we've got all of those. Yes, I took a look at it to be honest, real briefly the other day. I haven't gone into depth on it. Okay. That would be a great place because that's where all the community is of the people who are doing all of these things. The South Beach and Cape Ann and all of that stuff. So all of those tools will be around, plus the landing pages and the recorded messages and the whole all the tools that go into the autoresponders and the CRM. All the tools that go into it are part of it. Perfect. Okay. Well, Bill, one more thing to dive into then. I love hatching evil schemes, and it's fun to think about real estate at the highest level. Yeah, no, it is fun when it's working, and it's and as you know, it's not fun when it's not working. Right, exactly. I'll put it that way. That's the censored way of putting it in a very nice way. Fun when it's working, not fun when it's not. So, no, this has been a very successful evil scheme hatching exercise, Dean. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to take action on the great advice. Awesome. Thanks, Bill. Have a great day. Thank you. You too, Dean. Take care. Bye for now.
And there we have it. That was a fun episode. And I want you to notice that one of the things that we talked about was this idea of creating an asset that requires a little bit of effort. And I mentioned on the episode Richard Viguerie, and I'd recommend that you go and listen to the Richard Viguerie episode of I Love Marketing that Joe Polish and I spent time interviewing him. And Richard Viguerie is an amazing, amazing story of just taking the extra effort to create an asset that you can use to launch your business. And so I think you'll really enjoy that. I mentioned, of course, to Bill all about that Richard Viguerie story, and I think you should go and check that out if you're in a situation where creating a list of your ideal prospects would be a valuable thing. A couple of things I've got for you going on this month and next. I'm just starting this week our email mastery case study program. So if you would like to work with me and a handful of people on your email sales process, I'd love to have you join us. Just send me an email to dean@deanjackson.com and put case study in the subject line, and I'll get you information about the email case study program. And I've got a Breakthrough Blueprint event coming up here in Orlando in December. We're going to spend 3 days, just a small group of people, 8 to 10 people, and we go deep in applying the 8 profit activators to your business. It's a lot like a More Cheese, Less Whiskers episode, except we spend 3 days talking about all of the 8 profit activators and your before unit, your during unit, and your after unit. This is the last breakthrough blueprint I'm doing this year. So if you'd like to get information about that, send me an email, dean@deanjackson.com, and put breakthrough blueprint in the subject line, and I'll get you all the information about the breakthrough blueprint. If you'd like to go and get your Breakthrough DNA book, you can do that at breakthroughdna.com. And that way you can download the book that talks all about the 8 profit activators that we use to hatch evil schemes here at More Cheese, Less Whiskers. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and click on the Be a Guest link. And I would be happy to hatch some evil schemes with you. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time.